Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And we're back. You're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports radio station, KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, Amazon Music, Audible, iTunes, and more. Thank you so much for continuing to support this show. If you'd like to be a guest and promote your book or your product or your service, I have special nonprofit rates as well. Then please do contact me at drmarissa.life. Put guest in the subject line and I'll get back to you right away. And because it is Relationship Week and I want to help you with those, my Asian Oprah giveaway again today is an audiobook copy of my #1 best-selling book, 8 Ways to Happiness, from wherever you are. So go to drmarissa.life and put down relationships in the subject line. And the first person to do that gets a free audiobook copy. And if you do the exercises in the book, I promise that you won't hate yourself the same way again. And now, without further ado, the conclusion of my spotlight interview with sexologist Veronica Monet.
Here's another question that comes up for me, and that is, what's the power dynamic between you and men? Do you find yourself feeling seduced by their perspective or their viewpoint, especially in the heat of passion or especially when you're being flattered? Or do you feel like you're able to stand in your own core identity and what it is that you want, regardless of what the men who are coming towards you want or desire?
Yeah.
Because I think that can really cause us to have some buyer's remorse. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. No. I know exactly what you're saying. It's this thing. It's I want you to tell me that I'm hot. I want you to find me attractive.
Right.
But when you say it, I'm like, whoa, Nelly, slow down. I don't know if I can handle this. And so, yeah, I'm the one that's conflicted. I'm the one that's confused, and I'm admitting it to all. But because I know that I'm not alone. I know that there are women. I mean, the best compliment I get for this series is there's so many women out there who are like, oh my gosh, you're saying what's in my head. You're telling my story. And so I use this to try to help heal myself, as well as try to help heal the this. And it's so annoying.
Well, it is. It is. And you know what? I'm thinking about it. See, I've learned to pull in attention, sexual attention, and I've learned also to turn it off.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I was walking down the street, and I was really open to allowing sexual attention to come in.
Mm-hmm.
And I was feeling really good about that and enjoying it. And I'd forgotten one of the reasons I learned to turn it off, which was that sometimes it would pull in some very scary stuff. And I'm walking down this street. There's nobody but me and my dog, and these two guys standing there, and they're way younger than me, like 20 years younger than me. And they start flirting, and their flirtation starts to go in a direction that feels so overt and aggressive that I actually started becoming afraid for my personal safety. And then I remembered one of the reasons that I learned to turn that off, because sometimes it was actually very frightening.
Yes.
And just to reveal something about my history, I'm a rape survivor. So I'm pretty, averse to putting myself in hazardous situations. The vast majority of women have had some kind of sexual harassment or sexual perpetration. They may not consider themselves incest survivors or rape survivors like I am, but there has been something that they tolerated or agreed to that they didn't end up enjoying. And I think that's so important for us as women to claim that, to understand that, and that we have to find a way to empower ourselves empower ourselves so that we're not going to fall prey to that.
Yes.
And once those boundaries are in place, once that sense of confidence is there, then you can allow those compliments to come in without it creating basically a place where you're going to be out of balance or off balance. And wind up saying yes to something that you really want to say no to.
Right. And
that also means that you need to kind of have a menu in your mind. What are the things that I do sexually? What are the things that I do not do sexually? And if I know what those things are, then if somebody starts trying to talk me into it, my no is going to be there.
Right.
But we also, as women, have to learn how to have a no that doesn't create a disconnect, and because too often we're really wanting to keep that connection, so that we end up saying yes when we mean no.
Right.
So, and it may not to be, we may want yes to sex, but maybe we didn't want yes to a particular
kind of
sex.
Yes. Yes. Now that brings up something that I have two teenage daughters, beautiful girls, 18 and 16. And I had seen in the questions that you had sent me, one of them was sissy shaming and SLUT shaming, since I'm going to be broadcast on CNBC with FCC regulations. So SLUT shaming, I asked my daughters what that was, because I'd never heard that term before. And they described it, that you are being accused of asking for it. Therefore, if something happens to you, it's not the guy's fault, because you, by dressing provocatively or having a reputation or something like that, that's yours. So I didn't know that. That was new for me. But I linked it when you were talking about your experience, and I'm sorry that you had to go through that. That's I can't imagine, and I applaud you for being able to not admit to it, but share it, so that there's people who I know who are listening who have also been through it, and to inspire and give hope that you can heal from it. So what do you say to women who have been told that, well, you asked for it? You asked for it by the way you were dressing, the way you were talking, because I do have one experience from my past that I feel some guilt over, where I was, I wear low cut tops. I actually, I know that, I'm a little more bountiful than the average Chinese woman when it comes to that place. And no, I didn't pay for it, so it's natural, just in case you were wondering. But I was very friendly, and I did flirt. I'll admit to that. And it was someone that I worked with, and he told me that he had fallen in love with me, and I was like devastated, because he was married, and I felt guilty for. I didn't think that I was leading him on, but when I looked at my side of the street, I had to admit that, I was probably being a little overtly, as you were talking about before, like turning that side of me on. So there's another thing to feel guilty or shame about.
So let's talk about that. I'm really glad that you brought that up, because I really think this is where we have such a disconnect between men and women too. And not just men and women, by the way. I have clients that are of all genders, and I just want to, say that this dynamic between the feminine and the masculine can apply to any gender.
Yes.
And it can switch, because I personally love to channel both masculine and feminine energy, and I think most of us are more in our wholeness when we can start doing that.
Right.
Well, we were talking about shaming women for creating sexual desire in men. Basically, that's what we're talking about. And and this has been with us for thousands of years. It's going to take probably I don't know how long to get past it. But it's really, really important that as women we don't accept that as truth. There is why should we be ashamed or guilty or remorseful for being attractive or creating sexual desire in another human being? I, as a woman, find that there are both men and women who can create sexual desire in me. I'm bisexual. I certainly don't think that either men or women are responsible for the fact that I feel sexual desire. I don't think that they have to be sexually interested in me just because I feel that way about them. And I certainly would not think that if they dressed a certain way or flirted with me even, that they had misled me and therefore I had a right to do whatever I wanted to do to them. Mm-hmm. But that's the script that a lot of us as women are running around with.
Absolutely. Like you ask for it. If you're being flirty, then you ask for it, and you're supposed to be responsible around that.
And here's one thing that I do want to say about the flirtation, because I'm bisexual and I've dated both sides. I think it gives me some perspective to say that flirting is fabulous. I think it can breathe life into us. And I think it's part of the juice that keeps life exciting. And I flirt your butts off. but
I'm getting permission to flirt. Uh-oh.
but do it in a way that honors the person that you're flirting with. Mm-hmm. So if you, and we all have met that person who strings us along, and then just drops us right at the end. Mm-hmm. And that's mean.
Yeah.
That's mean. So if you are filling a suck hole in your heart and all this emptiness, mm-hmm. and you want somebody else to fill you up and make you feel better, and you just suck that out of them and then walk away, people are going to feel bad about that, whether you were flirting or you were just, crying on their shoulder. If you're taking and taking and taking,
right.
It feels horrible.
Right. Right.
So make sure that your flirting is a gift that is honoring and respectful. Mm-hmm. And that's really just about shifting your intention. Mm-hmm. If your intention is that the person that you're flirting with is somebody valuable, they're going to get that.
Yeah.
And even when you walk away and even when you say no, they're still going to feel really good.
Right. About what just transpired. Now, we weren't planning on going down this lane, but since you brought it up,
okay.
Because I was telling my kids that, this whole, watching the Danish Girl and transgender and bisexual and their friends being very open about, not only being gay, straight, bisexual, trisexual, I'll try anything. How did you know when you were like that because it is another area of shame? I grew up fundamental Baptist. So, darling, I've got a lot, and then my mom was adopted by a Russian Jewish woman, and I'm Chinese, so I've just got guilt coming out of my pores. It's no wonder I need this show. So that's why it's take my advice. I'm not using it. But anyway, so how did you know, and how would someone know that was what they are?
I know it's become so fashionable for women to be bisexual nowadays.
Yeah, and men too.
And men too.
Yeah, and men too. I hear about it all the time. So I'm getting confused.
I just saw a film actually called The Overnight. And it was definitely introducing that topic for men in I thought a very tasteful way. So I knew when I got to college, and it had to do with the fact that we all had to share the same bathroom for taking showers. And I was very distracted by what I was seeing.
Did you feel shame? Did you grow up in?
I felt embarrassed and frightened. Mm. And I thought if they find out, they're not going to trust me. And so I kept it a secret. Mm-hmm. And I was terrified that somebody would find out.
Okay.
And I had a long, painful coming out. I didn't come out until I was 29. And it was painful because I would get crushes on girls, but I didn't understand why I didn't even know I was having a crush. Mm-hmm. And then it wouldn't actually turn into a relationship. I'd feel frustrated, confused, and of course, so did they.
Mm-hmm.
So until you've actually found out, the truth about your sexuality, you can create a lot of pain for yourself and a lot of confusion and frustration for other people.
But you had an awareness. So I guess that's probably because it's so fashionable. I find myself asking myself, so am I? I mean, is that? I don't think I am, but so you have to have an awareness.
I wouldn't make a blanket statement like that. I would say if somebody was bi-curious, go check it out. But please don't stick with it just because it's fashionable.
Yeah.
If it doesn't sing for you, then don't do it.
Yeah.
I think that for me, it was just the reverse. It was like trying not to do it, and feeling like this was such a big part of me that I just, at some point I finally just had to admit it. Right. And when I did, I came out publicly. I wrote for a bisexual magazine for 5.5 years, and I got involved in the political movement actually for bi visibility. Interesting. And at this point in my life, I'm very aware of the fact that I'm bisexual because I have attractions to women, but I've in a basically monogamous relationship with a man for 5.5 years, and I'm very, very happy. Mm-hmm. So that's the other thing. Even if you have an attraction to both genders, it doesn't mean that you have to act it out.
Right.
And again, we keep coming back to choice. And if you have this ability to remove the shame from all the choices that are available, you really can come from a place of empowered choice so that you're not doing things because you want to please other people or avoid those feelings of shame, but you're doing it because it really makes you happy.
Yeah. And I guess that's where I have to make the choice because I don't, I go back and forth. I really... I preach all the time. It's embarrassing. I tell all my listeners, my callers especially, get in a relationship because it's a beautiful thing and you don't get that feeling of romance from your parents or your friends or your children. It's a huge dimension of life that is expanding and unfolding and then I had my girlfriend call me on it the other day. So, why are you so vested in being single? Why are you not dating? Why are you, why aren't you practicing what you're preaching?
Can I argue with that for just a minute?
Yeah.
I'm not convinced that you are vested in being single. Tell me why you're invested in being single. Make a case for it.
Okay, because when I get asked out for a date, I think about it for 1 second and I weigh it with go to dinner with someone that I don't know very well. I don't think we're a match. And go and hang out with my daughter and their friends and go see a movie or go to a movie by myself or sit and do a jigsaw puzzle, which I love doing, or anything where I really enjoy being with myself and doing those things. And I go like this and it is it's almost never like if I do it, I'll do one date and then it's like, oh, well, I need, that wasn't worth the makeup. No, I'm kidding.
Can I tell you what I'm hearing? Or more accurately, what I feel. I want to tell you what I feel when I hear you tell me that. I feel very happy for you. My heart expands. I think this woman is making the choices that are right for her. And I also had this thought that you are preparing for the right relationship that's not here yet. If you are out there wasting a bunch of time doing dates, I got to tell you, I hate dating. I am more experienced at dating than probably anybody you'll ever meet, and I can't stand it. I loved it at one point.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
but I got to a certain stage in my life where dating was like the last thing I wanted to do. And I think the fact that you would rather spend time with your daughter than go on a date with some guy that you don't even think is a match for you is intelligent. I think it's empowered. I think it speaks volumes of your female power and your acknowledgement of how important your life is, and every moment that you spend, you don't want to waste those.
But you don't think that's coming from, or that's a cover up for fear about the original thing we talked about at the very start of the show, which is that I still feel some, because I don't have the perfect body, because, clothes are, like false advertising. that is because I'm afraid of how, like, if I think of myself naked with someone, I think of myself thinking not, oh, is this going to feel good? But, oh, I wonder if he's disappointed because I'm not as hot as I look in my pictures. I mean, that, I know it's stupid. I'll be the first, that was like stupid, but I'm being honest. That is like that's proof right there that I am totally screwed up, and I'm not anywhere close to perfect. And it's a good thing that my show is called Take My Advice. I'm not using it, but I'm saying this too, to help those who I know feel the same way, identify, and also to comfort in the way that I can, to say, this is just, you can't get it wrong, and you can't get it wrong, and you can't get it done. And so my journey in this, I know, is that,
I actually have a request, a piece of homework, if you will, that I'd like to make.
Wait till you hear what I'm going to do. Okay. Go ahead.
What I'm hearing is you're going to kind of muscle through it and push yourself out there.
Yeah. Well, I am, like, on the air, actually.
I understand that. But can I ask you, here's what I feel very protective of your female body, because I think it's sacred. And I want it to feel honored and respected and loved and adored. Mm-hmm. And I think that starts with how we treat ourselves. So I don't know if you spend any time pleasuring yourself, and you don't have to answer that on the air if you don't want to.
Well, I did tell a caller to do it 1 orgasm a day.
Okay.
However she does that. So yeah.
That's a good answer. So, but here's the thing. There's different ways of doing that. And I try to encourage my female clients to create a sacred, divine ritual around self-pleasuring.
Okay.
So if it starts off with yoga, meditation, ecstatic dancing, that's a good place, because you're into your body and you're getting out of your head. Incense or scented candles, mood lighting, the kind of music that you think evokes the sensual aspects of yourself. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then fantasies are good, but I like to challenge people to expand their fantasies to other things, not just pair bonding, but actually realizing your visions for the world, or for your ultimate career aspirations, or your perfect life, where you're actually allowing that up into your head at the moment of orgasm. It can be a beautiful thing.
Interesting.
And to set a standard for yourself where you're going to actually take a half hour to an hour and really come to understand your erogenous zones, and get a mirror out, become familiar with all your parts.
Okay.
So that you can start to adore what you see in the mirror.
Interesting. All right. I see that as homework, and we are totally out of time. We're actually over, but that was so much fun. Thank you so much, Veronica, for the free coaching for me and the homework. And I will think about doing the homework.
Okay. Well, last question. Should I ask if I have any hot women who would like to be on your dating show?
Yeah, that would be, well, we're going to start with me, actually. And because Dr. Pat Allen always tells me,
you.
Oh, for me? Oh, I didn't even get that. That just, I'll get back to you on that.
Get back to me. Okay.
It's very rare that I'm speechless, and that one got me. Thank you so much, Veronica Monet.
Well, I hope you were edutained. I know some of you may have been blushing. I hope that you understand that when I share my vulnerabilities, it's an attempt to show you that, you know what? I know pain. I know shame. I know things that are not happy, but I also know that there are tools and a discipline that I keep yelling at you for to love yourself in a way that you can claim your birthright to happiness 88% of the time. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live from her loving room during the pandemic, reminding you that it's all about balance, peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. Now go forth and multiply the loving and self-care that you are, and have the best day ever. See you tomorrow.